Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Direct Joy. Where have we been? Happy September. Hope you're all well. So, who's joining me today? Look forward to seeing you all. Cool. So, nearly time for autumn, and definitely time to get into more of a routine. So I thought that we could start today with actually it's quite a deep direct joy, right? There's a lot going on at the moment. It seems for everybody, a lot to celebrate, but also a lot to digest, a lot to process. Getting back, and are we getting back? And what's going on really? So this is Direct Joy. I'm Cherie Joy, and I'm a psychologist, a psychotherapist, a counsellor, a mum, a fiance, and I'm now a leader of a red tent in Bexhill, where I live, and which has had its first meeting, gathering of women to just be women together, really, and share stories, and being community together. That was the aim of it. So today we're talking about persecution, which is it's really interesting actually how the topic came up, because actually as I was pulling it all together and all my notes were actually all about judgment, and it then switched to persecution, and I was like, whoa, okay, we've made quite a leap here, haven't we? Because it feels quite different, that sense of persecution, but I've gone with it. Because actually it feels really important. I'm a psychoanalytic psychotherapist, and that means that any slip of the tongue, any use of language is something that I pay super attention to in my work. It definitely gives me a heads up. And so, finding one for myself has definitely pointed me in the direction of where this direct joy is headed today, or what we're here to discuss, really. So, any comments you have, please put them in the box, and that includes in the replay as well, right? Because I can come back on live and we can revisit. And any feedback that you have on any of the social media channels, email me. Text me, drop me a WhatsApp, whatever. I love to hear from people, and it's so cool when I do. So let's kick off with persecution. And so through the age, what does it mean? Hostility, and basically hostility towards another group of people or types of people, usually race, religion. So there's usually a prejudice that comes with it. And through the ages, we see a lot of that, right? That's what we learn about sometimes in history, or a lot in history, I should say, not sometimes. And so why is this relevant to our mental health? Obviously, it's relevant to the people that are persecuted, but what is it from a direct joy angle that we're coming at this from? And I am thinking very much about the fact that we persecute ourselves. And what do we persecute ourselves for? Where do we go internally where there is a relentless, obsessive sometimes, pursuit of what we judge to persecute ourselves for? What's that? What's going on there, right? And making sense of that needs therapy, basically. But understanding what we can do to embrace ourselves when we hold ourselves in a better place, when we are persecuting ourselves, when we are full of anxiety or worry, or the dictionary said vexed. I love the word vexed, right? That is an awesome word. When we are vexed about something to do with ourselves or others or other community groups, what's happening around that persecution? What's showing up for us to find ourselves persecuting people? And that doesn't necessarily need to be about race, religion, age, gender, whatever's showing up. It can be anything to do with ourselves. It can be anything about how we're showing up. It can be anything about how we feel. It can be, let's think of some examples. Let's throw that out there. The way we dress, the way that we feel marginalised from people in any way, the way that we choose to show up. It can be our sexual orientation. It can be the colour of our skin. It can be our body image, it can be how we identify in any which way, it can be what books we like to read, it can be our political affiliation, it can be the fact that we don't have a political affiliation or we don't have an opinion on some of these things and we prefer to be quiet. We tend to then start persecuting and judging ourselves on this. We have an opinion because we feel different. And where that takes us to in a mental health place is like anxiety, worry, and feeling vexed. And we can either turn that inwards or we project it outwards. And when we project it outwards, we start persecuting what's different. When we project it inwards, we start persecuting what feels different and what we've identified as different, even if some people don't even give a damn and really, frankly, just love you for who you are. And that is usually the case, right? People don't see what we see. And so, yeah, that hostility that we hold towards ourselves, that hostility that we can hold towards others, really starts with that judgment, starts with that fear of being found out, that we might be, wrong, or we might not be as beautiful as we want to be seen as in our minds, in our intellect, in our physicality, in the colour of our hair, our skin, our sexual orientation, whatever it might be, in the car that we drive, in the sports that we like, in the TV that we like. People talk about the fact of they love to watch, they have that kind of the secret trashy films and secret trashy box sets that they watch. Why are they secret, right? Let's celebrate them. I love Gogglebox. Gogglebox is definitely part of my therapy. Yeah, if I'm ever feeling in any which way, bang on a Gogglebox and I just am in literally hysterics. I love it. Just love it. Any of them, old ones, new ones, don't have to see the programs. They just bring me joy. And yeah, I don't even watch a lot of telly. So what's that about? Okay. And doesn't need to make any sense. And I could easily persecute myself for watching that trashy stuff and, not necessarily being on Gaia TV or not necessarily reading books all the time. But actually, what's it like to have that balance? What's it like to have that harmonious sense of, do you know what? That's what Cherie does. Do you know what? That's what whomever you are. That sense of I am, and this is how I am in the world, and this is how I want to show up. And it's a scary place, right, to be found out sometimes. We don't necessarily want to take ownership of who we are. And then sometimes we get a real kick up the bum, don't we? And it's like, yeah, actually, this is cool. I love who I am and I love the choices I am. There's some things that really equip us to do that, such as the football team that we support or the drink that we drink or the places that we enjoy going to. That gives us a sense of unity. But what would it be like to step further away from the hostility? And this is kind of, the second part, actually. What happens when we project this stuff out to others? What happens when hostility, persecution, judgment gets pushed out onto others, projected onto others? They may be in our family, they may be just people that we misunderstand in society, people that we're just like, we think we've got the measure of that, and we may label them in a particular way with a prejudice or just in our understanding of our experience of life so far. We all have experience, okay, from a toddler right through to into our latter years. We all have experiences that we draw from, and we all have opinions, and we all have things where we go, that's what I believe and that's what I know. But from there, we can start thinking about what the other person is like, and we make presumptions and assumptions, and sometimes we can be scared. We can be scared that might bring up things that aren't manageable for us, differences that aren't manageable for us. And how do we embrace that? How do we actually try and move beyond that? Because actually, if we think about it, that's very much brain stuff. It's mind stuff. It's the mind being the ruler over the heart. And actually, to really be in harmony, what happens? What do we need to do to be in harmony? One of the things that we do in therapy is to stop, and then we slow everything down, because when we slow everything down, the mind gets a rest, which it needs. We use our mind so much, especially in modern Western society. And our heart gets space, our soul gets space to lead. It gets space to say, do you know what? I want to love that person, whatever's going on for them. I want to find peace with this situation. I want to be patient with that person. You know, we find that with children, don't we? We need a huge amount of patience. And what's it like for that kindness, goodness, that gentleness to really roll out, to have a faithfulness and a commitment to rolling out peace, to rolling out patience, to rolling out kindness, to aim towards harmony. Because we aren't always going to understand what's going on for other people. We are always, I presume, because of the nature of human beings and what I know about human beings, we are always going to have judgment about people. We are always going to have judgments about ourselves. But to work towards a place, to be faithful and committed to a place where actually, do you know what, I want more harmony. I can't be bothered to have these arguments with people. I don't have space. My space is for love and peace and joy and fun and play. And so those differences, can I set them aside? Can I be patient as they choose to lead their life? Can I be patient with myself in offering myself the opportunity to make decisions about how I lead my life, and whether I do that in transparency, and whether I do that, or just how I choose to do that, which is a complex way, right? That is, you know, no one said it was easy, right? And mental health certainly isn't easy in my experience, both as a professional and definitely as a Cherie Joy human being, right? But that inclusivity, seeking and finding harmony just feels absolutely epic for me. In the comments, I'm going to post a picture that I took earlier this summer of a beautiful statue that I saw in North Devon. And it's a statue of a pregnant lady, and I'm not 100% sure of the history, I should really look it up, but the scales are tipped, so they aren't harmonious like they were in the advert for today, or the promo for today. And that really struck with me about kind of what are we birthing, right? What are we birthing? What do we birth every day when we get out of bed? What do we birth every time we show up for work? What allows us to get in the way? Like, my internet is driving me bonkers at the moment, but do I allow it to get in the way? Because actually, when I give energy to that, I need, you know, I'm dealing with it. I'm doing everything humanly possible to deal with it. But giving it energy from the angry place of, they're not there, nit. Yeah, they're not doing what they're meant to be doing, blah, 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 blah. That's not going to help me, right? It's not going to help me. But I'm having to be extremely patient and extremely kind. Yeah, and I will have to be even more so after this call when I speak to them again about my internet failing. But what is it that I can commit to every single morning, every single day, to myself, to stop that persecution of myself, to stop that persecution maybe of others, if that's showing up in your life? It may not, but I'm pretty sure, because to be human, it shows up somewhere. And how we respond to it, be it with anxiety, be it with anger, be it internally, be it externally, those judgments, those hostilities tangle us. And to be tangled is, yeah, you know, try saying tangled, yeah? Try your tongue differently around that, because you can then feel it, what it's like when you go to that place. What are you holding physically? What are your words communicating? And what's your heart saying at the end of the day? What would it be like if it was different? And I think that's, you know, kind of that's very much what Direct Joy is about. My aim was to do this for like 6 to 8 weeks, and it's just rolling on. And yeah, my wonderful Alice, who helps me out with social media and makes me feel really old, is always reminding me that I've been doing it since March, and she's now written it on my new website. And I'm like, whoa, okay, okay, I wasn't expecting this to go on, but it seems like it's got a good following. It seems like you want to watch it, especially on the replays. So let me know. Send me your feedback. I want to hear from you. It's really, really important. And please do get in touch. And if you're interested in doing some work, if you're interested in going further, if this has triggered anything for you, please let me know. If it's triggered a lot, Samaritans and GP and even your local hospital if you really need it, if you're in that place. Okay. So look after yourself, because that's the aim of Direct Joy, is to give people some of the information that I know from my professional life and my personal life as well, to kind of equip us with mental health information that isn't necessarily readily available. And this is definitely a balanced view of all of the stuff. It's definitely a Cherie Joy take on things. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for bearing with the bloody internet. And excuse me swearing. There's my hostility towards the Western world of how we're restricted. Okay, so thank you, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you next week. If anyone's got any ideas for topics, if anything comes up throughout the week, please let me know. And if you're in Bexhill and you'd like to, and you identify as female, let me know, because we'd love you to join